Hello, we're about to get started here shortly. Just making sure that all our platforms are connected. We're also live on YouTube. Started going live on YouTube for our subscribers on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please take the time to subscribe. Hold on. Okay, let me see. Turn this off. Okay, now we're ready to go. Nice. This up here. Get my notes out. So I can use this. I'm gonna get some paper so I can take some notes because I know that as soon as I get started, I'm gonna go into some other things, and that way we're on the same page. Nice. Let's see. Okay, let's get started. Let me share my screen really quick, make sure that we're recording. All right, let's get started. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 tips to fund your business. And so this is mainly like if you're wanting to start a business and you're trying to figure out what to do to get the process going, because most times, you know, people want to open a business, but they feel like they don't have the money or they don't have the resources to move forward, and so they kind of like give up on doing that, and they never pursue the dream of opening a business. So today I'm going to share with you 5 tips to help you move forward towards reaching your goal of opening a business. And so a little bit about my intentions and the purpose of these webinars is really the purpose of these webinars is really to introduce you to a different way of thinking, introduce you to different resources that you can use to grow a business. And so the reason why I'm so passionate about sharing this information is because I was once in a position where I didn't think opening a business was possible. Because I always looked at how much it's going to cost. And I said, man, it's going to cost a lot of money to open a business. How do you do this? And I didn't have the credit. I didn't have the relationships to even move forward with that for a very long time until I got serious about it. And I got introduced to different information that really helped me get on a path to opening a business. And so the purpose of this webinar is to get you committed, to help you make a commitment. It starts with the personal commitment. Like you can watch videos all day about growing a business and about how to get funding, but until you make a personal commitment to yourself to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do, and from this point on, nothing's gonna stop me. And until you make that commitment, nothing changes. And so with these webinars, we offer some other different resources. And one of the resources is that every Wednesday at 5:30, we come on a webinar, and we talk about moving forward. We talk about other strategies, how to keep your mindset growing to a business mindset. And that's $97. Like, it's $97, but it's a one-time fee. But the benefit with that is, like, I send you some assessment tests. And assessment tests are basically things that they kind of clarify who you are as a person and how you operate. What are your habits? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Are you an introvert, extrovert? And it really breaks down of who you are as a person, how you operate as a machine, to better understand how you operate, and better understand why certain things have happened in your life that have kept you back from moving forward. And so we also have a massive action a journal where every night you can go over your goals, go over different strategies of what you got to do for the next day. We also have a massive action binder, and this is going to be a workbook binder that has a bunch of different worksheets in there that helps you clarify and define the direction you're trying to achieve. And so, a little bit about myself. Uh, Grew up from a single mom. My dad took his life when I was 4 years old, and so at a very young age we had to move to a big city, and it was me, my mom, my sister. And from when we arrived, my mom, her only mission was to find a job and to provide for us. And so she just worked, and she just provided, and that's all she knew how to do. And because of her commitment to wanting to provide for us, it left me exposed to a lot of bad environments and a lot of bad influences, and I went down some wrong roads, and I made a lot of mistakes as I was young, and I really didn't understand the purpose of life. I didn't understand goals. I didn't understand, like, that you can grow a business, you can open a real estate investment company, you can do all these things. I was very naive of that, all that stuff. And it wasn't until ninth grade when my life took, like, I guess you can say, like, a 360 turn. And that's when I had twin boys. I didn't physically have them. My kid's mom had them, but I was a father at the age of 16 with twin boys. And so it really changed my whole paradigm of life. And it kind of created, like, some scarcity, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to be a good dad. I didn't know how to be a dad. I didn't know how I was going to provide. And so, I just started to try to find a job. I dropped out of school, and I got a job at a restaurant. I was working at a Hollywood Video at one time. And it wasn't until I got a job at a dealership, and I was a porter, and I would, dump the oil out. I was mop the floors with the degreaser and stuff for the mechanics. And so from even, like, elementary to middle school, I was always labeled as, like, a problem child. They said I had, like, a learning disability. They said that I was just, I didn't have no guidance. I didn't have a father figure. So they kind of counted me out, you know, 10% of the time. Like, like, pretty much all the time they counted me out. If it's like, what do you say? Like, 9 times out of 10, they counted me out, something like that. So 9 times out of 10, they counted me out. So I was just counted out all the time. And it wasn't until I got the job at the dealership, and it was a little bit more steady job. It was a little bit more, but I didn't have the skills to ever be a mechanic, because those mechanics went to school for a long time to get that certificate. And so I kind of knew that I was never going to able to be a mechanic, because you can't just go from a porter to a mechanic. You have to, like, go to school, and I didn't have the money to go to school. So I really thought of it as, like, a dead end job. It wasn't until they hired me, I was actually going to get fired. I was actually going to get fired at the body shop. I mean, at the dealership. And set my mic up. I was actually gonna get fired at the dealership, and so I asked to get a transfer to the body shop. And And the manager at the body shop, he's like, yeah, we'll give you a transfer. And so I was able to transfer from the service department to the body shop. And whenever I got in the body shop, I just, I gravitated to learning how to do body work, and I gravitated to learning how to paint. I gravitated to just wanting to learn more in that. And I guess one of the reasons why I gravitated towards that is because uh, some of the guys, didn't have degrees. They didn't go to school for body work or anything like that, and they were able to make some decent money. And so that was attractive to me. And the fact of being on commission, where you can control your own, rate, and you can work as much as you want, and you can do as much as you want. It was a little bit more freedom, and I knew that was probably going to be my direction. And I think that if I didn't fall into like contract labor, I mean like commission work, I probably would have went into like a sales job, because you have more control over your income on a sales job. And so, hey, before we get started, um, about maybe 15 years ago, I want to say, I really got like, I really was like interested in like business, like the way it works, and how do you grow a business? And I became very curious in business. And so I started to read, and I had to teach myself how to read so that I can start to educate myself. So that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I remember that the first one, whenever I picked up a book, I was like, man, it's going to be hard, but I stayed with it and I started growing from that. And so because of my commitment to myself, and commitment to wanting to grow something, and wanting to be someone, I've been able to work with some of the best business coaches and best influencers, best life coaches, best investment coaches. I mean, I've had the opportunity of working with some of the best people, and it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing to be able to get around those people and pick their brain and understand how they've done it, and just model what they've done. Some of those, I'm going to name a few: uh, Kay Wakeman, Tim Story, T Bowman, Michael Coffey, Coach Burt, Elena Cardone, Albert Pasiato, Anthony Lally, Sofia Castro, Rafael Vargas, Brian Tracy. I mean, crazy, crazy. And you can actually go back. I actually was able to also interview them. So if you go back on our YouTube, you can see some interviews with some of these guys, and they're pretty cool characters. So let's get started here. So because of that, I've been able to uh, to grow our collision repair shop. So we have an auto collision repair shop that we've grown to a multi-million-dollar company. We have an investment real estate company. We have a commercial investment company, and we also do some one-on-one coaching and some mentoring and all that with technicians or people that have a business. They want to transition out of that, because look, you know, most people, they want to go in business for themselves. And so they'll quit their job and they'll open a business, right? But then what happens is uh, they actually create a job for themselves. So for example, let's say you work you do like flower arrangements, right? And you've been doing that since you were like 17 or 20 or whatever. And now you're 35 years old, and you've worked for like a company, and you're like, man, you know what? I know how the flower business works. I want to open my own business now. And so you go to open a flower shop, and you're still the one doing the flowers. Like, you're still making the bouquets, you're still doing all the stuff, you're still having to do the deliveries, and you're still having to do all the stuff. And so basically what you did was you created a job for yourself. It's a job that you have more control over, but it's a job that you also have more responsibilities for. And nothing's gonna change until you understand how the business structure works. And so I'm gonna break this down real quick. So there's gonna be three levels to business. It's gonna be a technician, the one that actually does the work. It is, let's just say, like let's just say mechanic, right? If you work at a dealership and you say, you know what, I want to open a shop. So you open a shop, and it's like you're the mechanic of your shop. So you're basically just the technician. But Now you're having to wear multiple hats. Now you're having to do management work because you're having to manage customers. You're having to manage, the invoices. You're having to do all that stuff. So now you have two jobs. You're a technician and you're also a manager, right? Well, most small businesses they stay stuck in that because if you ever talk to a business owner like a small time business owner, they always say, "Man, I just hate doing the paperwork. I hate doing the paperwork. Like I don't like doing the paperwork." And or they put it off, or a lot of times, one of the reasons why most small businesses are not successful is because they lack the skills to do that paperwork, and because they lack the paperwork, their business never really shows that any kind of growth because they always lack that part. They don't put that much effort into making sure those documents are correct, making sure the business is moving forward. And so they stay stuck in this cycle where they're doing, they're a technician 90% of the time, and they're only doing the management work or the owner work, 10% of the time. So that's why they stay stuck in that. And what happens is they end up using a lot of their personal debt or their personal savings or whatever, and then the business eventually runs out because they're not able to transfer everything over to the business. And so in this webinar, I'm going to break down a bunch of things. And if you're live with us, thank you everybody for joining us. We have a bunch of people joining us. You can leave a chat, or you can just leave a comment. Leave a comment below. What you think about the webinar? What do you think about the information? If it was helpful, I want to hear your feedback on that. And like I said, please subscribe to the channel. I share all this content in hopes that it'll help you grow, and it'll help you. Basically, it just helps. It just introduces you to new concepts and new information. And if you're a business owner, like, you need to be growing, like you need to be seeking out information that's going to help you grow. So with the business, there's the technician, there's the manager, and there's the owner. So each of them have key jobs in the business. So the technician is in charge of doing all the work. The manager is in charge of managing the employees, dealing with customers, and then the owner is in charge of growing the business, bringing new money in. How are y'all going to grow the business? How are you going to expand it? How are you using the resources to double the money that you're making? So this is a little diagram that I came up with, that you can really start to fill these things out. And if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. This is actually a business structure. So you will be right here, the owner, and then like you got to decide: do I want my manager? Am I going to have a technician here? And so you start to build this out. This is a business formula. So this will show you what it looks like. It's a structure, business structure. So look, you'll have the sales manager. So to say you have a manager, right? And then so that manager has other salespeople under him, right? So this is one. This is called a flat structure. This is a small one, but there's two here. There's a tall and there's a flat. So let's just say if you're a business owner, so how many technicians do you have? How many do you need a manager? Do you have so you want to start to delegate those positions out. That way you can focus on growing the business. And this is a good example right here, right? Of you're the president. Like, so you're going to be the president. So now you're going to have a manager. You're going to have a lead technician. You're going to have office manager here. Whatever, you can kind of play around with this however you want to grow your business. And basically what you do is you try to, because right now, for example, you're right here at the sales position. So you're doing the technical work. For example, if you're selling, let's say you're a mechanic, right? So you're having to do the work. So you're way down here now. You start off right here, but the goal is to move up here where you're not having to do the work. You're just focused on growing the business. You're focused on getting big contracts, and you're focused on expanding the business, new equipment, and investors. You're focused up. You get the focus up here. So you have to transition from down here to up here. And so look, tip number one is going to be to start a business or to fund your business. You can use savings, right? So the savings is going to be, you can use your own savings, or you can ask family and friends, say, hey, you know what? I have a vision. I have a business plan. I want to do this business. I feel very passionate about it. Uh, I know there's a need for it. I know I can solve a problem. Would y'all be willing to invest y'all savings into my idea? And so you have to be very clear with this savings. Yeah, and here's some notes here. If you want the notes, just send me a message. I'm also on Instagram, the Stan Medina. But if anything, just please subscribe to the channel, and you can go back and watch this stuff. Turn your notifications on so you get the latest updates and stuff. So look, the savings. Uh, you can start by using your own savings if you want. Just if you take some time to use your savings, but you want to make sure that you put some cash aside so that you have money to pay your bills. So you don't want to, like, if you have 5,000 in the savings, you don't want to use all your five. Maybe use three and say this two is reserved for this two is reserved for bills. You always want to make sure you have 3 to 6 months operating expenses uh, for your business. So, I mean, this is very fundamental, but you can use your savings account, but not, you don't want to use all your savings account because you want to make sure you have some reserves for yourself. At the same time, you also want to make sure that, you can actually stretch your business. You want to make sure, okay, I have this much money. I could pay the rent for this many days if I have zero work. That's what it means by that. Let's see. There's also some resources here you can go to. Um, this is very good tips right here. You can, whenever you're looking to buy equipment, maybe start by buying used equipment. Focus on connecting with other people that like groups. For example, you're trying to open like a mechanic shop, or you're trying to open like a restaurant. Maybe you can buy some used equipment just to get started. The next one is going to be bank loans, right? So bank loans are going to be pretty tricky because if you're a first time business owner, and one thing that I highly recommend is if you have a job right now, if you're working somewhere and you've been there for a long time, and you're like, man, I'm going to quit my job and I'm just going to open my business. Well, whenever you do that, what happens is now you have no income at all. So the bank is going it's going to be very very tricky for the bank to say, okay, well, you have no income, but you want us to give you a loan to open a business. It's kind of too risky. But if you have, let's say you have you work somewhere and you work there for several years, and you might have some decent tax returns or something. The business might fund you. They might give you the money. They might give you the loan to open that business. So you can always keep your job until you get the loan, and then maybe slowly transition. But I see that mistake a lot where people they quit their job, and then they're trying to open a business. They run out of money, so they're like, "Well, I'm going to get a loan because I had good credit." And so now the bank says, "Well, are you employed?" No, I quit my job. So now you have no proof of income. So now it's like a no chancer to get the loan. And most loans, like most business loans, they always want to know what you're going to bring to the table. Like they're going to say, well, okay, what assets do you have as collateral so we can, give you this loan or whatever. So here's some things too. Unfortunately, a small business loan is not guaranteed. Yeah, see, banks are airtight. They want a plan. They want to know what your business plan is going to be. They want to make sure you have a good credit score. And so a lot of times, I mean, most business owners that venture out, I mean, they're rebels, and a lot of times they don't have good credit. A lot of times they don't have, the assets to back them up, and so they give up because they don't have that in place. Uh, Let me see. Yeah, so look, it says you can go with the personal bank since you already be familiar with your banking history. So look, if you have, like, let's say you bank somewhere and you've been there for a long time, you might want to start by going to the bank and saying, "Hey, look, I want to open a business maybe in the next year. I'm looking at getting like a small loan so I can. It's gonna be a side business until it takes off." And they might go by the track record and the relationship that you have now to transition that thing. One thing that you can also do is you can do a collateral loan. So let's say, for example, you have 5K in the bank, right? Or you have 10K. and you're looking to build some banking relationships, you can go to the bank and says, hey, I want to get a personal loan for 10 grand. I want to use my money as collateral, and I'm going to use that. And you can tell them I'm going to use that to start my business or whatever, and just get the money and just pay it back. Just pay it back slowly. And what you're doing is as you're starting to get your business plan together, you're starting to grow your business. You're building a banking relationship, and so you don't want to get the 10 grand and use it. Get the 10 grand and just pay it back, in the payments, and that's going to help establish your credit. It's going to help establish that relationship with them. A personal loan, man, it really depends on your network of people. You can actually get a loan from someone that someone in your family, friends. Say, hey, I want to open a business. Would you be willing to loan me money? You want to be very, very cautious and make sure that you have the writing down. Make sure you put everything in writing, especially on these kind of deals, because look, it is a high risk loan. Because there's a chance that you might belly up and you might not succeed in the business. So be very clear. Say, look, I'm getting you this loan, but I want you to also know that it's a high risk loan. I'm going to give it everything I got, but I do plan on moving forward with this vision. And like I said, you can get family and friends involved, to lend you the money. Like I said, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. And number four is credit cards. So uh, you can actually start, like, let's say, for example, if you're self-employed, right? Start to monitor your credit and start to build up your personal credit, and then you can start to transition some of your personal credit into business credit. And the way you can do that is this, like, start to apply for the business credit cards under your business. And on some of them, you might have to put your personal information, but that's fine. You want to start to build up that relationship with those credit cards. And this is a very powerful thing you can do, because once you start to get that going, you can use those credit cards to fund your business, and then just pay them, make sure you're paying them back, and you can use it as capital to grow your business. So credit cards is always also going to be another option you can use. uh, just you have to be very, very cautious and be very, very disciplined on yourself that you're going to pay them back on time, and you don't want to go in too much debt with your credit cards. um, some more resources here that I put, but like I said, you can use a personal credit card, or you can open a business credit card. Uh, and just remember, like, some of the business credit cards might have a higher interest rate on there, but this is one option to start to get funding so that you can grow your business. And creative funding, number five, is creative funding. So what is creative funding? So let's just say you don't have a savings account. Let's just say you don't have no friends and family that want to lend you money. Let's just say you have bad credit. And so now it's like, okay, how bad do you want it? Like, it's just something that you really want to do. And the thing with creative funding is you have to get creative with it. You have to figure out, okay, where am I going to find the money? How am I going to make this possible? How am I going to grow this business without, being the underdog? And I go share with you what I did. And so look, when I was so I was a body technician. I got fired, and so I said, I'm going to open my own shop. I opened a custom shop, and I had the custom shop for a long time, and I was doing all the work. I was the one doing all the work until I said, man, you know what? Like, I don't want to do the work forever, because I'm going to get burnt out. I want to grow a business, and it's hard to grow a business when I'm the only one doing the work. So I got serious about growing the business. And so what I did was I started to meet with different bankers, and just seeing which banks that I knew that I might be able to work with, because some of them, because I had bad credit, I had IRS, I had child support, like, I had all these things going against me. And so uh, I went to talk to banks, and I just gave them all my information. I said, this is what I got. This is what I bring to the table. And they said, man, you're in bad shape. It's gonna be very hard for a bank to take you serious. And so I said, what do I need to do to get this taken care of? And so, like, a lot of the stuff, I would explain it, but you can only like explain so much, right? So for example, like the IRS stuff, uh, I had like a crappy bookkeeper that would always do my books wrong. And so whenever I wanted to grow the business, when I went to the banks, they said, "Man, your books, your books have always like zeroed out. Like you've never made an income you never made any money on your business." And I said, "Well, that can't be right because I stay pretty busy." And they said, "Well, your books don't show that you're making money." And I said, "Why is that?" And they said, "Well, it could be because of your bookkeeper is just making you write everything off." And so it's your bookkeeper's actually making you take a loss at the end of the year, so you don't have to pay anything back. And a lot of small businesses do that, but they think it's helping them, but it's actually hurting them because now they can't go back on that year and show that they made an income because they actually made a loss. So the bank's gonna count that year off. So I said, well, how do I fix it? They said, well, you're gonna have to go back and redo all your books. So I did that. I went and hired a good bookkeeper, and I said, I want to redo all my books. They redid all my books. They said, okay, well, you're gonna owe a lot of money. I said, uh, but but then what? They said, well, if you owe the money, you got to pay it back. But now it shows that you made income. It showed your accurate income from 3 or 4 years back. So I went ahead and did that, and that's why I had to pay that all that money and go through that process. But I really had like a lot of weight on my shoulders going into it because I knew I was in a very bad position, especially my credit was like a 500. Maybe I think it was like lower than that. I didn't really care about my credit because I had this mentality that I'll just pay for it cash. I'll just grow my business cash. I don't want to fund my business like through credit. And it wasn't until like I realized, hey, you know what? Like if banks will give you money to grow a business, like why not take it and grow your business faster? And so I had to restructure all my personal stuff. And so I started looking at different banks, and I met a couple of bankers that were pretty cool, and we kind of it was a good vibe. You can tell it was a good vibe. They're like, yeah, we want to help you, man. We want to see what we can do for you. And so I started building relationship with those bankers and getting small loans, paying them back, and just building up my as I was paying the IRS and doing all this stuff to build my credit up. I was doing all these little loans and just paying them back, just getting a loan, paying it back, getting a loan, paying it back. And as I was building my credit, I was also building my relationship with these banks. And whenever my credit got better, they said, "Hey, if you want to borrow some money to get some equipment, or if you want to borrow some money to grow your business, like, hey, you've already kind of proven yourself with us, and you fixed your credit. Everything's paid off. You don't owe any child support. You don't owe any IRS. Like, you're looking pretty good, man." So now I changed the tables where I had more options. I had more opportunities, and as a business owner, uh, we expect that, like, we think that sometimes, like, just because we're good at what we do, that's gonna like change everything. But you need these relationships. You need to build this network of people that can help you grow your business a lot faster. So creative funding is basically this you saying, hey, you know what? How am I going to fund this? How am I going to get the money to do this? What are all the ways I can do this? If I only had 24 hours to live and I needed to come up with the money to do this, how would I do it? And I believe that you'll get very creative and you'll figure out what you got to do to make your dream a reality. So these are some options here. Venture capital, angel investors. Most of these guys are going to want they're going to want to make sure that your business is already making money. They don't want to invest in something that you're just, they don't want to invest in a dream. They want to invest on something that has some numbers on paper that's actually moving forward. Government programs, corporate programs, crowdfunding, crowd lending. There's a bunch of different things. These are just a few, but I want you to be creative and really think about, okay, how can I fund my business? How can I grow this? How can I, how am I going to do it this month? How am I going to cover my payroll? And just be creative, because look, most people that get a big business loan, they go broke because they weren't creative. They maybe they had the good credit. Maybe one of the family members, maybe one of the Theos said, "Hey, mijo, I believe in you. I'm going to give you $100,000 to start a business." And you've never ran a business, so you have this $100,000, and so you wash through that money, and pretty soon the business goes flop. But if your back's against the wall and you're forced to try to be creative to come up with money, I guarantee you're gonna find ways to get money. You're gonna find ways to make the things work. You're gonna be like, man, you know what? How can I make this? How can I make this work? Because I don't want to fail at this. And so you're gonna get very creative, and you're gonna come up with different strategies. But check this out. Look, how much does it cost to start a business? So the SBA estimates it's about 3,000 or less to start a small business. That's about maybe right. I don't know. It depends on your business. Home-based business, maybe a little bit more, a little less. But hey, but as an entrepreneur, starts calculating, the cost calculator helps you, it helps you understand what you're gonna have to pay. So just start jotting down some stuff down. Like if you want to open a restaurant, how much is it gonna cost you to get your first order of food? Are you gonna have to get a fryer? Are you gonna have to get a grill? Like, how are you gonna market? What about your phone system? Like, just start to get some numbers down and get some clarity on how much this business is gonna cost you to move forward. And think about, like, do you already have customers? Like, have you tested the concept? Have you already, like, kind of put it out there? And one thing you can do, like, you can start a Facebook page say you're gonna open a restaurant, say you're gonna open a business, say I'm gonna start a Facebook page of my business, and I'm gonna see what kind of feedback I got. I'm gonna see if people are interested in doing that. So that could be like a one way to test things out. Or you can create a Facebook page to say you want to open a restaurant. Hey, my name's John. I want to open a restaurant in the Corpus Christi area or San Antonio area, Dallas area, and this is where my background. I'm looking for some investors. I'm looking for some business partners. Please let me know what y'all think, right? And you start to get the buzz out there. You start to get some feedback, and you never know. Like, what if they say, hey, John, you know what? That's a good idea, but that place that you wanted to open that restaurant, there's actually 5 restaurants in that same area, man. It might be very competitive if you there's 5 other burger places in that area. It might be really competitive for you. So it gives you some insight already to figure out what you're going to do moving forward. Well, guys, that concludes our webinar. I want to thank everybody for sticking around. Like I said, make sure if you get a chance to subscribe to our channel, man. Show some love. Turn your notifications on, and so you get the weekly webinars updates. Or if you want to know more information about what we have to offer with our business system and our coaching, our mentorship, our consulting, our mastermind events, there's information down below. And if you're interested in the binder, if you're interested in the $97, hey Stan, I just want to pay one time $97. I just want to subscribe to your stuff. Send me the assessment test. Keep me updated on anything new that comes out. That's all I want. I'm not interested in the binder. I'm not interested in the journal, but there's some people that want to go deeper. Hey, Stan, I want you to work with me on my business, man, because, I think you can get me from A to B a lot faster, and we can connect on that, Once again, guys, till next time, y'all be good.